Hey,
Hey everybody, it is the Sister Circle, and we are back in action. And so we
woo!
are so excited to be back. One of our other members is on her way. She's having a couple of tech difficulties. So we're going to pray tonight that the devil, the demon of tech, does not interfere with what we got going on, because tonight's conversation will be amazing. So we want everybody to join in. Remember, as always, you guys can post comments, questions in our Victory Baptist Church of Dallas Facebook and YouTube. And we'll try to answer those questions or post your comments on live. And so we ask right now that you share this, even as you're watching it, share and invite others to come. And if you're on YouTube, we want you to subscribe so that what we're doing, we can kind of showcase and broadcast to everybody. So tonight's topic is the election, right? So perfect topic for the season that we're in. It is a touchy topic. So first things first, we're going to lay out the rules, right? The ground rules. We're not going to support any candidate tonight. We are just talking about the election. The second thing is we're not pundits. We're not strategists. We are four women who like to chat and like to give their opinion about what we think is going on. So again, we ask you guys to join in, chat with us. So the first thing, as we were preparing for this, and Amitri is going to take the lead for tonight, but I wanted to share this because she mentioned that what's the deal with the Electoral College? And so as a social studies teacher, I had to go back into my, repertoire of things that I remembered from social studies. So remember, the Electoral College is made up, remember, each state gets 2 senators, and then they get House of Representatives based off of the size of their population, right? And so what the Electoral College is, how they come up with those electoral numbers, is basically the number of senators that you get and the number of House of Representatives that you have, and that's your number, right? And so what happens is that, so a long time in back in the day when they were doing all of this with the Constitution and all of that, the issue was they were fearful. A lot of people don't know, they were fearful that the American people could not.
They didn't know no better.
That's right. They didn't know any better. So they couldn't pick a good president. So they added in this Electoral College to assist and make sure that the right person got in. So
ye of little faith.
Oh, ye of little faith. Right. So with that being in mind, sometimes the issue is, how can somebody get a popular vote and not win the Electoral College? And that's because some of those states, like New York, California, have population, and what they didn't want to do was you just win the popular vote, but most of the people came from those big states, right? So they want to incorporate and give every state a voice. And so that's how this whole process began. So now we're here and we have Biden at 253 electoral votes and Trump at 213. And I'm looking, I got CNN live and rocking and rolling right now, and they got to get to 270. So Amitria, what is the first thing you want us to chat about today?
So I told them that I am not like the best of, I'm not that into politics like that. But I feel like it is, voting is our right. And so I will always use my right to vote. But even though I may not understand the whole, how everything goes and things like that. And just like Kelly mentioned, I had to go back and look up some of these things as well. Because I'm just not that knowledgeable, and mostly because of interest. And I mentioned this to the ladies before, I mean, when you hear politics or politicians and things like that, what comes to mind? Like when you hear that, politicians and political views and things like that, what is it an interest of yours?
What comes to mind? The word dirty. Most politicians are dirty.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind. But I don't really get all into the political aspects and the political views either. So I just kind of go and do my part and then hope for the best that the one that I chose actually, will come out on top.
Right.
And then I just pray about it. That's about all I got for you on that.
I mean, I'm with you on that. And I feel like that's being women of God and in church and things like that, and our belief in Christ. And, my thing is always whatever it's going to be what it's going to be. And,
right.
I pray and hope for the best.
That's right.
When you think of politics and politicians and things like that, what comes to mind?
So for me, I have to go with Erica. I just think that I don't trust them. I feel like, or you talking big game, like in New York, if they say somebody politicking, they out here selling you a bill of goods. They out here hustling you,
right,
and trying to get you to do something that maybe you shouldn't be doing. And so for me, I don't particularly, trust politicians. But one of the things that there was a study that was out there that talked about like the most trustworthy people, and politicians were definitely low on the list. This is a selfish jab for myself, but they said principals were the most trustworthy people, higher than pastors. And
I need to read that study.
No salt, Pastor Mark. No, no salt at all. Right. No, I feel you. I'm the same way as far as trust. Like, and most of the time, because I feel like, and maybe we as a people, I don't know, we'll get to that later. Do we see that we benefit from anything that happens from what they say? Does my style of living change? Does my bank account change? Does anything that happens around me personally, do I feel that I benefit from anything that anyone says that they're going to do? Do I really see that? Or is it something that I just have to, wait on? But I feel like, we as a people, we've been waiting for a long time. So I'm like, so what is it? Should I look for? Should I change my thought process? Is there other things that I should be looking for when it comes to making sure that these people, keep their word? Like, how do we keep them accountable? Or what can I do as, a citizen of this country, make sure that, they hold true to what they say they're going to do?
That's good. I think for me, what's a missed opportunity for us is those smaller elections.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm the most ignorant when it comes to like, who's the sheriff? I'm like, I don't know. I kind of go to Mark and be like, now who's running and what? Right. What's their platform? But I feel like those are the people that have the greatest impact on us, right? They're actually doing things that specifically relate to what's happening for us. And not that the president isn't important, but I do think that, especially people of color, like when it comes to those elections, I mean, like you could look at it. The election would be like 900 people voted. You're like, this person is like, when was election day? Like, 900 people voted? Like,
right.
I can't even lie, y'all. When I see those small names, and God help me and forgive me if I'm wrong, I'll be looking for the name that sounded black. It's Jaquita Smith. Check.
Ain't got no fact.
None.
The girl, I don't know what the girl can do.
She read a pamphlet first. She don't know. You bring up a really good point. And I feel like times before, and listen, I lived in 3 different states. Okay. So I really can't tell you anything about none of these people because I'm like, I don't know. But the point that you bring up about the smaller elections, those things, and I don't even know how often they take place. This is how far removed I am from any of that information. But you're right. That is very important for us to, vote when it's time to reelect for judges, and time to reelect for city council, time to reelect for, all those, I don't want to say small positions, but you're right. They make the most impact of where you currently live.
Yeah, so that comment, Erica, that comment was for you. The church said terrible.
Oh,
who is that low-key under the skies hater?
I can't tell you that. I can't tell you what I do, Erica. I'm not even gonna put it out there. I'm not even gonna put it out there.
I don't care. I'll be like, Lakeisha.
Don't know what the people get ready to do.
At all.
Platform, nothing.
At all.
To where it was like really nice at the voting segment that we would go to. It's like a school or something, and all of them would be standing outside, and they would like try to get you to know them before you walk in. Like, hey, I'm so and so, so and so. Now, if I could remember their name by the time I walked in there, and they looked like it was all right, I would vote for them. But mainly, my main voting tactic is.
I'm not even gonna throw my husband under the bus either, because he will say, just like you would take a test on and multiple choice, abracadabra. Yeah.
Abracadabra. I knew that's not the vote over abracadabra.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's right. Any, mini, money, mo. Go. There you go.
and then be crunk when they don't do nothing.
Erica be that 901 vote that came out. All right, so let's move to this question here. Do you think anything that has happened this year has had an impact on the election, whether it be COVID or the deaths that we've had in the past, I would say, year or so, that may have impacted, and I'll say specifically the African American vote? Do you think anything that we've experienced this year or in the last year or so has impacted people, getting out to vote, or the election period?
I do. I mean, I think that, I just believe that everything that is going on has impacted, but I feel like that's for certain people.
Yeah.
So certain groups of people, COVID is an issue for. The George Floyd incident is an issue for, but for some people, all of that means nothing. And the huge issue is the economy and economics, and them still being able to, live the life that they've been able to live, And I think sometimes we have to be careful about that, because even with COVID and all the situations, we talked about this before, is that, sometimes when things don't personally impact us, then, it's easy for us to act like they don't exist, or, that they're not meaningful. And that's kind of when we go back to even like with MLK, right? And one of the big things that helped with the civil rights movement was when they put things on TV.
Yeah,
because putting things on TV allowed the rest of the world to see, because even with George Floyd, right? Nobody had that not been recorded and not been on TV, it would not have been, to me, in my opinion, such a big deal for people. And so, so I do think that for a certain community, for the Black community especially, who is disproportionately, dealing with COVID, that's an issue. That's an issue for us, and race and discrimination are issues for us, and we're looking for the candidate who we think is going to help us in that space.
That's
so
true.
I do.
This NBC, I don't know nobody's name, but she mentioned exactly what you said, Kelly, that how the other party made them feel, and how they may feel that they may lose their position and how they live and things like that, which is why they went with whoever they went with.
Right.
And so that didn't change how, even with all the information out there about, the opposing candidate, that for her, the opposing candidate, how that person made her feel, she's like, nah, I'm just gonna stick with what I want to go with. And so I feel that that's true. If it doesn't impact you, then again, you not going, hey, it's whatever. And that's sad to say. And for me, I'm like, well, as Christians in this country, it's like the first thing that we think about is, doing to others as they would do unto you. Like, how would you feel, putting yourself in other people's shoes? And I feel like we lose a bit of humanity when that's the mindset of the majority of people. Like, they don't think about other people. They only think about themselves. And so I think I totally agree with you that a lot of things that have impacted the election this year. Erica?
Well, I agree with mainly everything that you said. Like you had made the point in reference to how if it doesn't affect you, then you won't be swayed by, because I see a lot of people making comments saying, oh, I don't care who wins and who doesn't win, and I guess I can't say anything bad about, their feelings or how they feel in reference to, not voting. But in other instances, when it comes down to that, I feel like our people had to suffer so much to go through, not for you to at least go and try to voice your opinion and at least somewhat care about it. But most people, like you were saying earlier, I think Kelly was saying that, like, they don't care if unless something directly affects them. So with this COVID situation, some people felt like, one candidate would handle it more appropriately than the other person is handling it. But then too, other people feel like, well, I'm okay. I haven't, lost my job, or I haven't, stopped doing what I'm doing. So, why not still continue to vote for the president or whoever it is that you decide to place your vote for. I'm not shaming, I don't care, but I'm just saying, like, it still begins to be the point where it's kind of like, if it doesn't directly impact you, then, most people don't care.
Yeah.
Just like Lil Wayne, you can talk about him, not for the vote per se, but like just how he had a issue, what was that, not too long ago, about how he said, oh, slavery never affected me, or something like that, how he made that comment. It was just kind of like, what?
Like, ignorance too. That
what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, total ignorance. To me, is self-hate.
Yeah.
You don't love yourself enough to recognize that, that all that happened to your people, and to me, all the residual effects of that. Like, I think people mark out, like, we sit here, we talk about black on black crime, and let's bring that up when we're dealing with the issue of police brutality. And I'm not saying that that we're not having an issue with blacks killing blacks, but I'm like, that crime, like crime is crime. It's not black on black crime, and most crime happens in areas of poverty.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, and I think that's the part, and that kind of goes in, and I don't want to, move in on you, Ametria, but my issue is this issue, this definition of morality.
I was just about to say that, since
that upsets me, and I feel like it upsets me as a Christian. It upsets me as a black woman. That I'm like, who gets to define what morality looks like? Because if we're all going to go off the biblical notion, then all are sinners. Then if we're going to do that, then we're all sinners. Correct. But I'm like, but we want to look down. I was very frustrated when we had the protesters, and you're all like, these protesters, that's not correct, that's not right. But I'm like, and I don't agree with, burning down buildings and all of that. But I also feel like, is it wrong that the man's knee was on his neck? Like,
yeah. But then at the same time, you have other types of protesters out here with guns, like on the Capitol, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? Like, how can we?
But they're not defined as thugs.
I don't understand that. That right there.
I'm so frustrated by that. I'm frustrated even when it comes down to the opioid crisis, right? So now, now we done had, the hood has had crack cocaine take all over the hood, right? And people have died, families been broken apart, and it's not. And the solution, let's go back to what the solution was. Right. The solution was a war on drugs,
correct?
And it started arresting these people who were doing. And I'm not saying you commit a crime. I'm not saying you don't go to jail. But what I'm saying now is we have an opioid crisis. Wealthy people are dying as a result of drugs. But when poor Black, and this is the same thing with COVID, when poor people are dying, it's not a problem.
They don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't become a problem until wealthy people start to see some connection. And that's the issue with COVID. Yeah. The 280,000 people that died were all within the $500,000 income bracket. We'd be having a whole different discussion about what we should be doing with COVID.
Correct.
And
it'll be a Google right now. Already.
America on Facebook. I wasn't trying to go there with y'all today, but see, that brought me there. And so here we are. Right, I was trying to keep it real copacetic and positive.
Okay, it's okay.
But that's facts. Facts are facts. So, with that being said, what does the election say about the state of America?
Oh, that we feel.
Where are we as a country? Like,
we still on the brink.
What are we doing? That's the question. What are we doing? And again, I am not the most political person ever. I don't understand. Like, what am I looking for? What are we doing? Like, how do we continue to live like this? And then, I'm gonna bring up another question. What does this look like to our children? Like, what does this say to our children with how things are being handled? And I mean, even though these debates took, weeks ago, but that was just crazy.
Yeah,
what is that? What are we showing our children? What are we allowing them to view? And like, what are their thoughts? Like, what do they think when they see craziness happening on TV? People being messy, grown folks being messy that are supposed to be leaders of this country. What does that say to them?
I think it's an example. I think they, honestly, to be honest, I think they see it all the time. And I think maybe that's the problem. I don't attribute that to just the, I feel like we live in a world where this and what are those kind of shows? The like Atlanta Housewives, all of those reality shows. We live in a reality show world.
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, I just feel like, if we allow our kids, now we don't expect to see that from leaders, but the world makes it seem like that stuff is okay. When you're watching Atlanta Housewives and you're watching all this stuff where it's okay to clap back. It's okay to, say how you feel and let them, who gonna come for me, boo, or, all those Atlanta Housewives, which I low key watch, but all those Atlanta Housewives comments and phrases, I'm not gonna put all of that on, on the politicians, but I because I think that's the nature, unfortunately, of how we are, and it to me is celebrated. And that, I think that's the part that really shocked us, was that, you know, the behavior seemed celebrated. It seemed like, okay, so you can clap back or say how you feel and, you know, put that out there, and that's okay. So I don't know. I think for my kids, you know, you definitely trying to say something opposite about like, well, that's not how we should, that's not how we should treat people.
Right. That's true. I mean, even when you think about, you know, stories in the Bible, I mean, we did a long study on Joseph and things like that. And just, I mean, you try to give the best examples possible to show them, you know, the right way, but you always have to, I mean, they're going to see it. I mean, this is, there's no hiding it, you know, for much longer. You know what I mean? It's only so much you can do with parental controls and all that type of things. But I mean, you just try to educate them the best you can, and prayerfully that, you know, they make right decisions.
Well, let me ask questions. So can you be, you know, maybe not the nicest person, but you're a great leader? So is that, you know, does that matter? Like, what if I, you know, say negative things about, you know, the candidate or anything like that? I slander them or those types of things. But could I not still be a good leader? Is that an issue?
A good leader or a good person?
A good leader. Like, can I still not run the country? Maybe I'm not uber nice, and I'm not moral, and I'm not decent, and I'm not kind, but I get the job done. So
well, I'm gonna be like this. I don't need you to be nice. I need you to do your job. I need you to take care of the citizens. I need you to take care of the country, period. As they would say, period. Take care of us as Americans. Handle your business. I don't need you to be nice. You don't have to fluff me. You don't have to pat me on my back.
Why do you have to be mean and nasty to get your job done?
You don't have to be mean and nasty, but if you're direct, some people misconstrue direct and somebody saying something just straight up as being mean and nasty when they're not. They just saying what it is that they have on their mind. So it just all depends on interpretation.
That's
you say something.
So
I was like, you need it.
So let me just be clear that for you, the person, if we're thinking about a senator or president, doesn't necessarily have to, you know, they could be a little off color. They could be a little off cuff. You know, they don't always have to fit the political mold of smiling and kissing babies and that kind of thing for you, as long as, now you said that they care about, now they do their job, and their job especially is for everybody, is what I'm hearing from you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, then my follow-up question, and I'm definitely not trying to interrogate you, but my next question,
I'm ready. I'm waiting.
My next question is, what do you interpret as their job? What's most important to you that the president do? So what I'm hearing from you is, you know, being an example of moral, you know, aptitude or moral, you know, kind is not what you need. So what is it that you really need?
No, not moral. I want you to have morals. I just don't that you have to be kind. You don't have to be a nice person, because not everybody is just a peachy around the way, oh, hey, how you doing type of person. I just want you to be able to have your moral perception about you, because if you think about it, when you're thinking about a president or a person in such high demand and high power, that person will have some sort of moral standards. Okay. But that doesn't mean because they have moral standards that they have to be lollipops and rainbows, is what I'm saying. I mean, they don't have to be all nice, but I need you to care about at least, you know, your people, your job. What is your job as far as your president? What did you say that you were going to do in order to get elected into this office? Did you say that you were going to free COVID, solve COVID? Did you say that you were going to lower taxes? What did you say that you were going to do? Can you pursue what you said you were going to do and actually do that, is what I'm saying. I ain't saying you gotta come and shake my hand and rub on my baby, because I don't want you touching her no way. I just need you to do your job. Do what you said you was gonna do.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, that was my last question. I just wanted to hear more from Erica about right. So my conclusion was you don't have to have rainbows and sniggles
and lollipops.
And lollipops. There's rainbows and lollipops for her.
But I want to hear your answer to that, Kelly. What's your thoughts on that?
Ask the question again.
How you gonna ask the question? Ask the question.
What's the question? Come on, ask it again. What was it?
Oh man. Oh, can you be a great leader or president and not be decent?
That's a good question. I said that question. That's a great question. I do think that for me, I think I want it all. I want you to be a good person. I want you to be a good, role model. I want you to be a good example. But to Erica's point, and I'm a leader, I want you to get the job done. So and I agree with her in the sense that, there's some people that are really nice people, but don't get anything accomplished, don't hit none of their goals, none of their targets, but you wave up and you're gonna love me up all the way through it. But I'm like, I'm broken in when I started, but we all one big happy family. Right. So I agree with Erica. Like, if you want to come in and all we want to do is kumbaya, then that I don't.
I'll join the church choir for that. I don't need that.
Right. No, that's right. I don't need that. I need somebody that's going to come in. To Erica's point, I need somebody that's going to come in and do their job. But and also to your point, Erica, I need somebody that is mindful of all your constituents.
Yeah,
those that voted for you and those that didn't vote for you.
Correct.
That you are responsible to
all
of them, and that all of them feel that America is doing something for them.
Right.
And I do agree. I think that being an example though of how you treat people, I think
that's big.
That's important to me too, because if you say it, if you can't even say it, then I know your actions ain't aligned with it either.
But the other thing I want to point out too, and when it comes to your job and your career, it should be something that you should enjoy. So that's where I'm like, you still need to be a good person, because if you're not happy in what you're doing, then I don't know the outcomes and things that you gon' bring to the table. So if you ain't enjoying it, just like any other job that we have, if you don't enjoy being a teacher, you ain't gonna be a good teacher. If you don't enjoy being an accountant, it's not gonna be good. So I need you to enjoy what you do. At the same time, fulfill the promises that you say you were going to do, or at least, you gotta get close. Like, Jesus, you can't do it all, but don't make any promises either. Like, I need you to be real. That's the other thing. I need you to be real and honest, and say, and say what it is that I ain't gonna be able to do that. Or, I can try, I can do, I don't need you to try, I need you to do. But at the same time, I need your goals to be realistic too. So
I want somebody who's also bipartisan. I would really be open to somebody who can bridge both sides together, because I feel like that's why we're not getting nothing accomplished. We can't make no moves.
None.
Because we can't get
making everybody happy.
Well, I'm saying, and we all have to sit down and like how you do with kids. Okay, we're gonna cut the cookie in half then.
Right.
And you take yours and keep it pushing. Exactly. But I'm like, this to me creates this environment where it's all or nothing, and nothing is all or nothing.
Nothing at all. Somebody has to give and take. Like,
somebody has to give in, say, I'm willing to give up on this if we can get this.
So why hasn't that happened? Like, why can't that happen? Like,
well,
and the question that was posed before, I don't know who has fulfilled that. I don't know.
Yeah.
what president has.
No, Barack Obama was pretty good, but
It was pretty good.
from a moral standpoint, I definitely feel like he was in his stamp, definitely moral. I do wish, to be very honest, and so maybe I hope you guys don't stop listening because I say this. I wish, because he's my favorite president, so I feel like I can say this because it comes from a good place. But I wish he did more for people of color. Like, I think he did a lot, but I'm like, as the hood is still there. And I wish that as president,
ain't going nowhere either. Like, I mean,
we as president, you would have said, "This is hood." Wait, say it again, Terrell.
What you say, Terrell?
There we go.
I think that the hood, as far as the hood, no one's gonna ever be able to change the hood but the people in the hood, because he can come in just like what was going on in Dallas, and the chief of police brought in all that backup to try to help get the crime together. They hated her for that, because now they busting drug houses, they messing with their money and stuff. Who has to want to clean up the hood? That's not a person's job. So I don't think that should even be the president. I mean, what is he going to do?
Yeah,
because the way for him to do that is bring in the people to remove neighborhoods.
Yeah, I agree with that. That has to come from within, but some people can't, and Martin Luther King talked about that. Sometimes you got to help people pull themselves out of, if that's all you know. And some of us is from, sometimes on those of us that came out, it's not because we did it on our own. And sometimes that's the thing, that we like to walk around here and act like, oh, I went to school and I did somebody helped you.
For real.
Somebody put some opportunities in your path for you to take that opportunity. And I know, and I'm not saying that, by tomorrow, things would have gotten better, but some radical things I think would have been, even though they would have been overturned after he left, but some radical things could have been put in place, especially his last term, where, you knew you wasn't coming back. You could have started putting all kinds of stuff into play.
Right. So let me ask you something to that comment. As far as you feeling like Obama should have done more for his people, let me ask you this. Going back to your comment in reference to you wanting a person that is bipartisan or a person to be for all people. Now, when we think about the first Black president of the United States, my question to you guys is, if you're saying that we wanted him to do more for our people, do you think that he was actually allowed to do more for our people? And I'm saying that because how they have to, when they go through different things and they have to send stuff through the House and they have to send stuff through the Senate, some of those things that he may have wanted to do or may have structured to do, he may not have been able to do. And that's my opinion, but do you honestly think that
I think
oh, go ahead. Hold on, baby, you chopping up.
I know you breaking up. Say it again, Terrell.
Chop a style. We all leaning in, girl. Come on.
What is leaning in make us think that we're gonna hear it better? Okay. Okay, say it again, Terrell, because I feel like you about to say something so
right. Your internet about to take up 10 minutes.
You. Oh man, you had to put it in the chat.
Hold on, it's the phone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
You still can't hear me?
Yeah.
This is trash.
Oh man.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a minute, and you can cut us off when you get in.
Good, girl. You look good.
You're so funny.
So, there you go.
Stop.
Cold-blooded.
Can't hear me now.
Okay, yeah, we hear you.
No.
Oh man. So
wait. Somebody in the chat has
I was saying.
All right.
Terrell, I think you're ready to be able to play this game with you all night, friend.
Circle.
Welcome back.
Be still. Don't move. Be still. Don't even laugh. You can't laugh because you'll see.
Okay, go.
Go.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
I'm gonna mute mine. Maybe that'll help.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think on Obama's second term, he did not have. That's just going back to what Erica said. But on that second part, things that he wanted to get done couldn't get done because the House wouldn't work with him. So maybe the first half it may have worked.
Yeah.
I quit. Go.
So I guess that is a good comment somebody just said about how the Democrats had the majority for the first 2 years. That's why we have Obamacare. So exactly, I feel like he was trying to put some stuff in place, and also, you know, he couldn't just put stuff in place for our people, even though I wanted him to. But you know, he had to spread the wealth and spread the love.
And I agree with that, but I just feel like, I feel like that's always the case with Black people. Like, you know, why can't it be us this year? Why can't it be a year of Black people? We're gonna do something
right
for us this year. I mean, I'm all for opening it up and equality and everybody. But when I even look at the state of education for Black people, we are the lowest. We are struggling, and I just feel like any little bit would have really helped us out. And I'm not saying, honestly, I love him to death, so I'm not saying he didn't try or anything like that. And I also feel like maybe my expectations were unrealistic. You know, sometimes most people felt like that. I think most people felt like when he came in, we was going to be New Orleans. It was going to be right. It was going to be Atlanta.
So my male
city.
Every other group demands from the people who represent them than Black folks do. She is so on point with that. Very true. And why is it like that? Why don't we? Why? I feel like it's the same thing when we talked about this before, like supporting each other. Why don't we show up for each other? Why don't we expect more from each? Like why do we settle so much? I don't understand that. Like I don't get it. I don't understand it.
And I agree with that. So that was great. That was a great topic. Actually, really good. We could talk more about that. We got to run outside, so that now I want to tell her be safe. Right. Election, be safe out there, girl.
Be careful.
Okay, so
they're wilding out there where you live.
Right. So let's talk about this real quick. Potentially having the very first female vice president. And let me add to that. Black female vice president. Like, what? What's your thoughts on that? Like, if that was to happen, what come on.
And I hate to say this is about to be real cliche.
Oh God.
What you get ready to say, Erica? I'm
so you go last. You go last. You go last. What?
What you get ready to say? I'm so nervous.
What I doing? No, I was gonna say something nice.
Oh, okay. Can we pick her out if she say something crazy?
I would just comment. I had just was gonna say. Like, that's just like that's so emotional for me. Thinking about something like that, a space for that my daughter can possibly be in office and in the future, and that's just like you see her as a role model for Black women, and so I was gonna say something nice. I just feel like it was kind of cliche because I'm like, oh, the whole role model thing for the kids. Yeah, I know, but I feel like that's emotional for me. Like I'm really like, man, that can happen. It's too late for me, but that can happen for my kids.
It's not too late for you. First of all, the people running for president is over 70 years old. Okay, man, you have plenty.
Like,
plenty of time.
I'm not gonna put in the work. I done got lazy now. I ain't gonna want to put in the work. So for my daughter, it's just amazing. She can
I mean, Erica, like, look, y'all want to vote for me? Vote. Y'all don't. That's okay, but I'm not gonna come out here and do all these rallies.
standing out in the cold.
Play that speech I did last week. Just do
right.
that.
Play that, because I don't have nothing new to say.
Nothing. Just vote in and you don't see. Vote in.
And what I said was what I said.
Yeah, exactly.
I said what I said.
Oh man. Okay, so
I think it's dope that you know that there's a potential opportunity for, you know, a person of color, a woman, to be the vice president. I think that's that that says a lot. You know, when we go back and forth about what does America say? I think America is confused itself. Like it doesn't know what who it wants to be today.
We don't know what we want.
You know, we like this notion of, you know, of a person of color vice president, but you know, on the other hand, you know, we like these conservative values, and so I just think we're not sure what we want to do. We're a little, you know, bipolar here and off a bit, but I think that's amazing. I think what Erica said, you know, for kids to see, and that's really all it is, right? Because and that's one of the things that is huge for kids, and is just showing them that there's possibility, right? And so that and ideally you could be from the same, there's nothing different, and that's what you're trying to show the kid. There's nothing different that this person has that you don't, they're from the same place, same neighborhood. You know, those are the kind of things you want to try to show them, and say, even out of that, they rose from the ashes. And here they are. They took advantage of opportunities and God opened doors. That's the other thing. Like, it's not, you know, I think sometimes, again, like I said before, I think people want to, you know, rest on their laurels and say, you know, well, I did this on my own, and the grace of God, you are where you are because he showed an infinite measure of kindness towards you. You know, and that's what you have. And I think about that even with my life, you know, I'm like, I ain't no different from nobody, you know, to be at this point is that God designed that I be at this point at this time in my life, not because I'm more talented than the next or, you know, anything like that. So that's good.
There is a, not to get so big.
Terrell, do you have anything you want to add?
I'm trying to keep.
You say you're trying to keep.
I'm with Erica. Did I break up again?
You did. I don't know what's happening over there.
Keep talking.
You're not gonna keep talking, Terrell?
I was. You can't even hear me.
Ametria. What else we supposed to be talking about, Ametria?
Oh man, that right there.
Just so y'all know, I'm looking at the new. Ain't nothing changed. Still
ain't nothing changed. Okay, so we did say, and I don't know if this percentage has changed, Kelly, but it says right now 59% of eligible voters turned out for this election, on track to match the 2016 election.
Yes. So the highest,
what's the biggest? Yeah, and then also with that, what's the biggest concern of surrounding the outcome of the election?
Of that, yeah, I think my biggest concern surrounding the outcome is safety. Mm-hmm. You know, I think people, you know, wilding out, you know, last night you're looking at all of the, you know, staying up late and all that stuff that's going on. And then I really just had to come to terms and be like, you know, regardless of who wins, I have to get up and go to work tomorrow. So I got to turn this TV off because it's not going to matter tomorrow, because tomorrow the boss is still saying I gotta log in. So
and on top of that, ain't nothing I can do about it anyway. No matter which way it goes.
I did my part. If somebody put on Facebook, like the election is like doing a group project where
I did my part.
You waiting on the rest of the team to do their part, so you don't lose your credit.
Exactly. Or make you feel like, okay, me doing my part, it really counted. It really mattered.
Exactly. Did we flunk?
Right.
That part. We're gonna be on the corner, ma'am. Did you do what you were supposed to be doing?
Right. Did you read the supplement?
I think even with that though, but why do people not vote? And that's what so like 59% of the population has voted. And so the highest is like, I think in 2016 was like 60% of the population voted.
That's crazy.
Like it was like in 1876 or something was the big, where it was like 80%. Other than that, the number is like 50%, only half the population.
Why? Yeah.
So we have other religious aspects that say that they don't believe in doing that. So you got those people who aren't accounted.
Okay, teach Erica.
I'm about to
saying for real.
Wow.
They really don't believe in that type of system. They believe.
Do they live here in America?
Yes. I don't want to, I ain't gonna put them on blast or nothing like that.
What is people at? That's not impacted by what's going on.
They're very much so impacted, but they do not believe in that voting.
Right. I'm with Pastor. What scripture they using? Because I do not understand.
I can see the private comments that we have between the four of us.
That is wild. That's why I have never heard
it again, Terrell, because I feel like it was profound. What was it?
I know. I just heard someone today referring to the Bible saying about the 7 trumpets, and that was the sign for Trump. And I was just like, that was your theory? That's why you voted for Trump? Confusing.
Just gonna make up stuff.
What?
I'm so glad your internet cleared up for that comment. That right there was good.
Oh man. But okay, so back to why don't people vote? Why don't we vote? Why don't African American people get out to vote specifically? Because that's who why.
Your vote doesn't put voting.
They don't vote. The vote doesn't count. They don't care.
Right.
Go ahead, Chris.
They think like Kelly. For what? For us anyway. They only gonna do it for the other people. So it's never enough.
Who's saying that?
Hey, everybody on Facebook, I didn't say that.
The producer is fired. You cannot. Producer is going hard.
Clearly. Go ahead and save yourself. My phone was breaking up. Maybe I didn't hear you clearly.
Because what I'm trying to say is, while your internet breaking up, why you coming for me?
I'm saying,
I mean, you get your internet together before you come. This how we don't went from the sister circle to the housewives of Dallas.
Oh my God!
Don't come for me unless I said for you.
Period.
Right. Felt like what you say about. Felt like enough wasn't done for people of color. A lot of people felt like that, and that's why people were going the opposite way. Why, I don't know. But I mean, even if you felt like he didn't do enough, why would you vote for Trump?
We said we wasn't endorsing nobody today. You might have missed that part during the Wi-Fi thing.
gonna go to Facebook jail. That's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna kick this out.
Oh,
We're gonna have to circle no more.
We're going to Facebook jail, so y'all won't see us again for another 2 weeks. We're going to Facebook jail.
We okay. Go to YouTube.
Oh, man. Right, find us there, please. Thank you.
so about
man.
next week we will only be on YouTube.
Really. We ain't gonna be able to get on there. And y'all better check y'all personal accounts too. As always, it's a pleasure to converse with these ladies on all kinds of topics. This
Likewise.
one right here is, I mean, and yet and still the number has not
Number
moved.
hasn't changed.
So what is we gonna do?
Why?
That's how we ending the broadcast. What is we gonna do?
What is we gonna do? I'm not staying up late again. I'm not doing that. No, ma'am.
You better watch, fight, and pray, honey. That's all we can do.
That's all you can do. So I'm gonna pass it back to Kelly for the alley hoop to end us out. Now she froze. Lord Jesus.
Oh Lord, deliver the Wi-Fi tonight.
Tag team. What is up?
Jesus.
All right. Well,
Somebody
Kelly's
that's
frozen. I don't know what happened. Now Terrell is on and popping. I don't know what's going on. Be patient and prayerful. Yes, that's all we can. Okay, here we go. I threw you the alley hoop, and you
want to talk about not today, devil? You want to on this Wi-Fi? We ain't.
This that welcome back, right? That's that welcome back.
We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We are every other week now. And so the next topic, just so you guys know, is relationships. So we are talking about being single, being married, really just delving into some of those topics and all the challenges that come with both sides. And by then, Terrell will have her technology fixed.
Hallelujah.
We're supposed to at the end of the meeting, at the end of the program.
And so we will be up and running. But as always, we appreciate you. This is a subset of Victory Baptist Church of Dallas. We invite everyone Sunday at 11 o'clock at 1600 Pennsylvania. The pastor is the great Pastor Mark. And so that's the great pastor. You see how I took a page from Erica Yow's book?
Erica.
Erica, and how you supposed to support your husband. That's the topic of next week.
That's right.
We're gonna let Erica lead us into how you're supposed to be supporting your husband through that, because she has nothing but nice things to say about Joel every day, every moment.
That's right.
So, and don't forget, we have Brothers on the Block on Mondays at 7 o'clock, and they're always talking about football, usually the terribleness of the Cowboys. So, join them.
I can let you do that, Kelly. Hold on.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.